Welcome to Lowering Barriers for Meta Device Production and Certification. Today we're gonna start off by me giving you a brief introduction into Meta, and then we're gonna have a look at all the steps you need to do to get your Meta device certified and where modules and the service from Panasonic can help you accelerate that. We also have a Q&A at the end. The session was recorded at the 10th of April in 2025. There's 2 Q&A sessions at the end of this video. With that, let's get into the recording.
Today's speaker will be Chetan Joshi. He's a lead product manager at Panasonic. And the second speaker will be me, Finn Boetius. I work as a product marketing manager for Nordic. I'm assuming most of you already know what Meta is all about. Meta is a smart home standard developed by major tech companies. Obviously, Nordic is one of them, but then there's also the really big ones like Apple, Google, Amazon, and so on. So all the ecosystem providers are in on Meta, which is one of the really big points about it. Meta in general is achieving interoperability between smart home devices across different ecosystems, and everything is IP-based, so it's really nice for networking. For communication, Meta runs on Wi-Fi and Thread for wireless communication and Ethernet for wired communication. And Bluetooth Low Energy is used for commissioning. Both Wi-Fi and Thread are themselves application layer agnostic, so you can use any application layer on top of them, which is what we're using here. So here we're using the Meta application layer and the data model on top. So that means that devices can be interoperable and talk to each other no matter if they're using Wi-Fi or Thread. And also independent of which smart home ecosystem is running at home. So if you already have an Alexa or a Siri at home, you could still use the same devices that would work with Google. Or that also means you can use both of them to control the same device at home. To make this a bit more easily understandable, how would one of those networks look like? Let's have a look at this one, for example. Here we have a Meta network that has Thread and Wi-Fi devices. Let's look at them one by one. So first off, both Thread and Wi-Fi are complementary IP-based connectivity protocols. It's not necessarily either or. In most Meta ecosystem, it's very likely that you're going to have both Thread and Wi-Fi devices. In most cases, your better choice is going to be Thread. It's just a very low power mesh network. It works really well, and the more Thread devices you have, the broader the range of your ecosystem gets, or the broader the range of your smart home gets. So Thread in general is best for battery-operated devices requiring high energy efficiency and simple actuators. But as a rule of thumb, anything that doesn't need Wi-Fi, Thread is a very good option. Wi-Fi devices you want to use for anything where you actually need the bandwidth of a Wi-Fi device. So anything that sends lots of data to the cloud, or things like audio streaming, there you would really want a Wi-Fi device. Most smart home ecosystems want to have at least one smart home hub, and if you have Apple HomePod Mini, for example, you already have this border router. This could also be integrated in the normal router, for example, and there's also new things now popping up where phones and laptops these days also sometimes come pre-equipped with a Thread radio. So that's it. Basically, in most cases, Thread, unless you need to use Wi-Fi. Nordic supports both, as we will see in the next slides. Before we get to that, we're going to have a look at the offering that Nordic has when it comes to software. Don't be afraid about the gigantic graphic here on the right. This is basically just to show you what all you're going to get from Nordic. So if we look at Meta in the Connect SDK, we have the newest implementation at the time of this recording, or this live show, if you're live. It is Meta 1.4. We also have the Open Thread pre-certified libraries. We have a qualified Bluetooth LE stack. We have certified Wi-Fi stack. And we also have Meta samples and applications available. And if you look at everything that's here to the right, the main thing that you as a customer or as a device manufacturer need to take care of is the very top block, which is the user application. And even there you can start off with a sample. Now that we've heard a bit about the software offering, let's have a look at what hardware you can use for your Meta project. I'm assuming most of you are familiar with our products, but as a very brief introduction, usually our products are, we call them SoCs. A bit oversimplified, it's a microcontroller with an integrated radio. So if we take the 52840 here as an example, it has 1 megabyte of flash, 256 kilobytes of RAM. It has a Bluetooth LE radio and a thread radio. It also has other things like NFC ATAG functionality. It can do things like Zigbee, but for us, mostly relevant is the flash size, the RAM, the functionality of Bluetooth LE and thread. The 52840 is one of the most used Bluetooth SoCs on the market. The successor of this one, so our newest device, is the 54L15 or here the 54L10. Relatively similar feature set, also very well suited for Meta over Thread. It has 1.5 or 1 megabyte of non-volatile memory. It also has the same amount of RAM. It also supports Bluetooth LE and Thread. But in general, you will be a lot lower in power consumption than the 52840. And in most cases, also the price is lower. So for newer designs, this is usually the best approach for simple Meta applications. So if we look at the 5340, this one is a lot more powerful than the 52 or the 54L15. It has 1 meg of flash, 212 kilobytes of RAM. So you can fit a lot more than just the Meta application on this one. So you have more demanding application. This one is going to be a really nice choice. It also has its extra network coprocessor, which is there to take over some of the Bluetooth and or Thread functionality. So for simple Meta applications, you want to have a look at the 52840 or the 54 series, 54L15, 54L10. And for more demanding applications, the 5340 is a really good choice. And if you want to have Wi-Fi in your Meta product, you can just take one of our Wi-Fi companion ICs. Here I have the NF7002, which is a dual band Wi-Fi 6 companion IC. You can put that next to a 5340 and add Wi-Fi functionalities to it. We also have the NF7001, which is not on here. It's basically the same IC, but it only has 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi and not 5 gigahertz. Keep in mind, the ICs themselves are not big enough that you can use Thread and Wi-Fi concurrently. You can build one application that does either Thread or Wi-Fi, and you can also switch while rebooting, so that is possible. But it does not fit a full, like a border router functionality, for example. That does not fit on the 5340. Basically anything else you can do with this. If you need some extra information to convince your boss to let you use Nordic SoCs in your next device, this is a very good overview and some arguments that make us a really, really good choice. In general, Nordic is very heavily focused on low power applications. So there's several suppliers that will enable you to, in general, build a Meta device. Nordic specifically, we have the new 54L series, which is best in class in power consumption. So we beat the previously most used Bluetooth SoC in ideal circumstances by about 3 times the processing efficiency. Obviously, this is a bit of marketing fluff. If you look at it in an actual application, and you can also look at that in our online power profiler, for example, you'll see between 20 and 40% less power consumption, which is also pretty significant, but it's not 3 times. But it's really good in power consumption, and it's on a similar or lower cost level than the 52 series. When it comes to software support, we have our Connect SDK that I mentioned on a previous slide, where we have full support for innovative low power modes and features. So things like the synchronized sleep-in devices, which is a really nice low power feature in Meta that isn't even implemented everywhere yet, but we already have it available and had it available for quite some time. And also something very important to point out, the Meta samples that we have that are supposed to be used in low power devices are optimized for low power. So you can use that sample as a starting point. The Meta samples you see that are meant to be in low power are actually optimized for low power. So there's not a whole lot of extra work you need to do to achieve low power consumption. Then I've mentioned the online power profiler. That is a really nice tool to give you an easy estimation of how much power you're going to consume, which is also featured in our white paper on power consumption specifically in Meta. We also had this as a topic, specifically power consumption in Meta devices, as a webinar that we had, I think, 2 weeks ago, which you can also watch on demand on our YouTube, for example, or at webinars.nordicsemi.com. So with all of that being said, let's get to today's actual topic, onto our main speaker. And we're going to have a look at certified modules and where you can save time and your resources when it comes to using pre-certified module and maybe even pre-programmed modules. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chetan.
Thank you, Finn, for laying the groundwork for today's presentation. Hello to everyone in attendance. My name is Chetan Joshi. Thank you for joining today's webinar. Over the course of next hour or so, I'd like to inform you on how Panasonic is facilitating the access to Matter market for device makers. This is the outline of the presentation today. If you have any questions during the course of the presentation, please post them in the chat and gladly answer them at the end. Finn has already informed you on all of the great things that Nordic provides you to get started with the Matter development. Our emphasis in today's presentation is going to help you release your first Matter product to the market. If there are questions that fall outside the scope of today's webinar, please reach us at the email ID that you see on the screen. Now, a short introduction to Panasonic. Panasonic, that you might know of as Panasonic Group, is a more than 100-year-old company founded in 1918, headquartered in Osaka, Japan. It's a technology conglomerate with global exposure, so global presence, and has exposure to diverse market segments, including smartphone. I am part of Panasonic Industry, which is an umbrella organization servicing B2B customers and focuses on cutting-edge device technologies for making devices that go out in general industry. More specifically, today I'll be speaking to you about the products from Panasonic Industrial Devices Europe, which is a Panasonic company that has decades of experience in making industrial electronics, including wireless modules. These wireless modules are designed in Europe. So they are designed in Germany, and they're also produced in Europe, in Slovakia, such that you can expect very high quality production with great technical support from Panasonic. A distinction of Panasonic is that we own our own production lines, which also offers us a great deal of flexibility and high degree of product customization that we can extend to our customers, something that you will learn to be important in the presentation later. Now, the key question today is that how do you enter or why do you enter? Why does anybody enter the Matter market? We know that the reason why Matter has gained the hype initially was because it promised a very large market driven by standards that could allow small as well as big players alike to drive and compete the smart home segment and also sell thereby to a global audience. This vision allowed industry players to come together and collaborate to improve their own brands and also provide high quality user experience while still being able to focus on the core business of their own company with an IoT technology that just works. And the way that happens is because the magic of Matter is in hiding all of the complexity from the end user itself, who in their own bubble don't realize that there are many technologies working together seamlessly and all in compliance to various regulations and different standards that go in making a Matter product. But having spoken to many of our customers, we know that compliance is a big headache it's a big problem in project management perspective, because most of our customers face major issues in rolling out Matter products. There's just simply too many topics going from hardware, software, programming, manufacturing, interoperability, regulatory, etc., that are all geared towards compliance, and all at the same time involving too many stakeholders that makes it a gruesome task to manage effectively. This is why over the last few years, what we at Panasonic have received as feedback from the market was that uh, there are just too many valid excuses for not making a Matter product. While some of the bigger vendors figured out the complexities of making a Matter product, much of the smaller and medium-sized customers and many big-sized customers also kept on putting Matter projects on the back burner, claiming technical obstacles, scaling problem, major bottlenecks in compliance, having a very tedious supply chain, etc., etc. This is when we at Panasonic Industry realized that we could solve some real problems for our customers. As a wireless module vendor, we have anyhow been at the forefront of compliance topics for many years now. So the way we do it is that we have invented a whole new, bold new approach to accelerate Matter product launches. With this integrated approach, you as a user can hope to reduce your time to market by half. We do this by solving three key problems that are visible in all Matter projects. One of them is a good RF design. Second is setting up the necessary infrastructure to manufacture a Matter product. And finally, the product certification. We also do this with serious partners from the industry who have high reputation in this domain. The approach is broadly centered around three components. Number one, using Panasonic certified wireless modules and leverage that provide the necessary wireless interfaces. Number two, leveraging Panasonic European factories where we extend a Matter PKI to our customers. And number three, having a preset that greatly facilitates the certification journey for putting a Matter product on the market. So that said, there are some prerequisites for working with us on this integrated approach. Prerequisite number one is that you need to have a Bluetooth SIG membership. The minimum recommended level is Adopter, which doesn't require any annual fees. But for every product that you qualify, you need to pay a non-recurrent fee of 11,000 euros, $11,040. This is important for your Matter product because it needs to have its own Bluetooth listing. More information is available on the link provided below. Next, you need to have a thread group membership. The minimum recommended membership level from our side is implementer level. There is a recurring annual membership fees and a certification fee per product that you launch. Within that membership fee, you also get access to the thread test harness software, which is an important topic from a compliance perspective. Of course, more information is available on the link that you see on your screen. It is important for you to have a thread membership because you would need to get a certification ID, a CID from thread group in order to make a Matter product. Finally, CSA membership. So CSA is the mother organization that's driving the Matter approach. The minimum recommended level is Adopter, which is billed at $7,000 annually. You receive upon membership activation your own vendor ID and also access to matter specifications and a right to use their trademark. Upon getting your product certified, you get a product ID as well as a certification declaration CD that is necessary for putting out a matter product in the market. More information can be accessed on the link that you see below. Finally, the last prerequisite from our side is that you need to be familiar with our partner here, Nordic Semiconductor. Our focus today lies on NRF54L15 from the NRF54 series, which is a multi-protocol module, of course, supporting Matter, Bluetooth and Thread, of course. And to familiarize yourself with general principles of Zephyr and NRF Connect SDK in doing so. There is plenty of documentation available from Nordic side. One of the key things that I would like to emphasize here is that in setting up your Matter project, you need to make sure that you're using certified Thread and Bluetooth subsystems because they have impact on your compliance. A short comment on the costs that are indicated in the previous slides. The membership fees represent a recurrent annual investment in participating in a standards-based market. Standards are important because they allow you to access a vast user base who's accustomed to a given technology. But those are not the only costs. There are additional costs which may be recurrent or non-recurrent in nature that come from compliance-related testing. We'll come to those in a little while. So, having prerequisites out of our way, the next topic where we really start with our effort is lowering the RF design barrier. And this is where I start with thinking about our module based on NRF54L15, which is called PAN B511. PAN B511 is a new module based on NRF54L15. It is remarkably small in size, 10.35 by 9.8, all dimensions in millimeter. It has a hybrid footprint layout that gives to a very easy prototyping, but as well as easy manufacturing possibilities. That said, with the castellated holes and the LGA hybrid footprint that you see on the screen here, you have access to all of the pins that are available on the SoC. There are multiple specs that we'll come to in the next slide that are available on the same footprint. More importantly, this module will be certified widely, of course, including Europe, US, Canada, Japan, UK, but extending to other regions in APAC as well. More on the weight. So the module that you see on your screen on the left-hand side is the module with the integrated antenna. There is also a possibility of ordering a variant with an external RF pin for the applications that require connection to an external antenna. But that's apart from the antenna variant, we also have additional assembly options. So within the same footprint, we have the option of having a slow clock, a high purity slow clock assembled for 32 kilohertz that lends itself to high performance, especially for synchronous CPN devices in thread technology, and also an additional variant that has 4 megabyte of flash, all integrated within this 10.35 by 9.8 millimeter square surface area. That allows you a lot of headroom for any eventual changes in matter or your own application size. You would ask, what's a good way to evaluate this particular device? This would be to order a PAN B511 evaluation kit. You can reach out to us on the email ID that you see on your screen for more information. Next topic is lowering the production and certification barriers. Very important. So in this particular part of the integrated approach, we are partnering up with DigiCert and DECRA. A short few words on our partner. So DigiCert is a very well-known leading provider of PKI solutions and also digital certificates. They have an extensive product offering that contributes in making trusted embedded devices. And most importantly, they are approved by CSA to act as a product attestation authority that is able to generate device attestation certificates that form the basis of your Matter device's digital identity. So we are partnering up with DigiCert for accessing their PKI services. And then on the other side, we have DECRA, a company with a century-long history in compliance testing, who today retains a strong focus on intelligent testing solutions for digital devices. They are also a CSA-approved authorized test lab to validate compliance towards Matter specification. But their capabilities extend beyond Matter itself. So if you have other compliance-related topics, for example, the new European Z Article 3.3 DES clauses, then they are also able to answer you on that questions. And this is highly relevant for all of the Matter devices, as these devices communicate over internet. So DECRA brings a lot of valuable expertise to the table. Now, at Panasonic, we have worked with DigiCert and DECRA to set up PanMax. So Panasonic PanMax is our approach to substantially shorten your time to market for your Matter product. We do this by implementing a chain of trust from our European production facilities. What does this mean? This means that we have a Matter PKI, thanks to DigiCert, that allows us to register our modules on the CSA's distributed compliance ledger from our production. This happens because we have DigiCert, who acts as a product attestation authority, the second block that you see here, who that has issued Panasonic a PAI. Thus, Panasonic acts as the intermediate attesting authority for signing device identity certificates. And then those device attestation certificates, DACs, are injected into our modules during the production. So that allows us to set up a major part of the infrastructure that is needed for making Matter products. On extreme right-hand side, we have DECRA, who acts as our compliance partner to test end products and its compliance with the Matter specification. So, and we at Panasonic, we orchestrate this collaboration so as to have modules that are ready to be deployed in Matter applications. This approach, PanMax, becomes a single window solution for making Matter devices, which is here, as you see, organized in a multi-tier service that allows you to choose the level that suits you and your requirements for your product. At the base tier, we have PanMax Silver, where you get to access the PKI infrastructure that was just described in the last slide. If you go one step up for PanMax Gold, what you get is a PKI, Matter PKI, but on top of it, you can work with Panasonic to use a factory software programming service to program the modules in Panasonic's own production line, as well as the certification declaration for your Matter device, thus saving a lot of time in your own production. And finally, on PanMax Diamond level, we drive the compliance according to Matter specifications in partnership with DECRA. you can work with us on Panmax Silver or Panmax Gold or Panmax Diamond. An overview of our value proposition is seen on this slide. So between Panmax Silver, Panmax Gold, and Panmax Diamond, you get access to a Matter PKI. You get access to negotiated pricing for the X.509 certificates, which act as the device attestation certificates. You get all the production-related information that would allow you to actually manufacture your device. As a standard, Panasonic defaults as the PAI. But if you would work with us on a higher tier, then we could also set up a specific, your own specific PAI for you. Then, of course, you can program your Matter application and your business logic with Panasonic. We're also looking right now at firmware signing and other topics. We help you in importing thread and, of course, Bluetooth certification, and then, of course, for the Matter testing package. So that sets up like a very unique approach in the whole market. And this is why your journey in making a Matter product is significantly better with Panasonic compared to other solutions out there in the market. So, of course, at the ideation phase, you start with nRF54L15. Nordic provides a lot of good quality, high quality content in that direction. You come up with a concept, and then immediately you start working with a great radio that is Pan B511, where we are, of course, not only selling you a module, but we help you integrate it better in your design, engaging in PCB design review, in antenna validation and optimization. From there on, you go and access the customization service such that you receive your own part number and you can order that part number to ship reels of your own product to any EMS that you want. Also, with the Matter PKI that is set up in Panasonic, you account for significantly lower capital outlay for all of the infrastructure-related costs. You have a faster compliance path spread across multiple technologies with pre-certifications or pre-negotiated compliance paths that are made available to you, such that there are little to no changes to your own production line and to your own development setup. And with Panasonic taking over the responsibility of providing multiple touch points that offer highest product and service integration. Now, a lot of talk. Let us see how something like that would work out for you if you were going out and making an actual product. Let us assume you are a smart block manufacturer and that you're already a member of CSA, of Bluetooth SIG, of Thread Group. Even better, you have chosen nRF54L15 as a great platform that allows you to make your next Matter over Thread door lock design. So you're here, you have your ideas clear. Now, the key question is, what should you do, right? So the most important thing is to get started somewhere. And that somewhere can very well be Panasonic's evaluation kit, the order code that you see referenced here. The cool thing about our evaluation kit is that it also provides Arduino and microbus interfaces that allows you to simply buy and use multitude of sensor modules and shields that are available off the market and directly go into development. So, for example, for a door lock, you could simply pair up this particular evaluation kit with any Hall sensor or magnetic rotation sensor, accelerometers, etc., etc. On top of that, there's no dearth of good quality documentation. So we have Panasonic Wireless Connectivity Development Hub that you see on your screen here, as well as Nordic Semiconductor's Tech Docs and DevZone that serve as an excellent platform for making a product. The target of all of this activity would be to design a product concept using this evaluation kit. Once you are there, then you're ready to go to the next step. That next step would be to get in touch with us here at Panasonic. We'll set you up with PanMax. What does that mean? This means that we discuss with you the application on which you are working on and the scope of your project. We decide together what is the most suitable variant for you, economy, standard, premium. Let me remind you, this means the assembly options with an integrated slow clock crystal or an integrated slow clock as well as 4 megabyte of additional flag. And then finally, define the scope of PanMax, silver, gold, or diamond, depending on your most suitable requirements. So if you were to ask me now, what does that mean in practice? Let me take an example on the next slide. Let us assume that you start working with us on PanMax Silver for making your new log. So we split your journey in 4 phases: planning, development, certification, and production. In the planning phase, you will sign the PanMax contract with us, which would allow us to generate your own custom order number. Thereafter, you would provide us product-specific data, which includes product ID, vendor ID, hardware revision, etc., etc. From there on, you get busy with the development. We provide you pre-provisioned modules which already have DACs inside them that allow you to make your first prototype, or what we call here device under test, for a good reason. Once you have made your DUT, of course, you add your own Matter application inside it. And from that point on, it goes to the certification lab. You find a CSA approved lab that can certify products from Matter and then set up your own test campaign. Assuming everything goes well with your test campaign, you integrate the certification declaration that is issued by CSA into your Matter application. Then, from that point on, you place an order for the order code that was generated by Panasonic for you. You would receive zines with pre-integrated, pre-provisioned modules with a QR code, using which you can retrieve enough information that would allow you to generate onboarding codes. These codes will be necessary because when you are making your own product with your EMS, you would be able to program your final matter application that you generated at step number 8 into the module, and then generate the associated joining code or onboarding code that will be needed by the end user to help your product join a Matter network. With PanMax Silver, what we need, therefore, is product-specific data from you, which is product name, vendor name, hardware revision, etc., for which we at Panasonic will provide you a simple questionnaire, a fact sheet. Once everything is set up and you are ordering your modules, what you will get from Panasonic would be wireless modules in reels that will have product-specific credentials with signed DACs and private keys coming from our factory to you. What is still left for you to do is, of course, organize your Matter certification with a lab of your own choice, obtain your own certification declaration, integrate the certification declaration into your Matter application, and program that Matter application during the production of your own device. If the third pillar sounds too complicated, let me present to you the same journey, but this time with PanMax Fold. Now imagine that you're making that same door lock, but this time engaging with Panasonic on PanMax Gold level. Herein, you would sign a PanMax contract, of course, but right there and then, you would be able to subscribe to Gold level services, which may mean engaging with us on cybersecurity topics in more detail, or getting your own specific intermediate EAI, so intermediate product attestation certificate. At that level, we would work with you to identify your best leads. From that point on, it goes much like PanMax Silver. You get your own order code, and then you provide us product-specific data, but also add to that, this time, the Matter application, which would allow us to generate pre-provisioned modules that also include your firmware, using which you can make your smart lock as a device and a test. You take this device to the certification lab that you have identified, and you set up your own test campaign. Once again, hoping everything goes well, you add that certification declaration into your Matter application. But this time, because you are working with us on Panasonic Gold level, you show the final firmware to Panasonic. We would engage with you in validating those final samples and making them production grade. And at that point, you can place a purchase order for your reference. What this would mean is that you will still get reels with QR code integrated, let's say, affixed onto the reel itself. That would mean that you would utilize to generate the onboarding code. But you don't need to program your firmware. Your module comes ready to use, and you just need to assemble it with your EMS partner. The overview here is that what we need from you, of course, on top of Silver, is your final Matter application that also includes the certification declaration that your product is Matter compliant. What you get from Panasonic is pre-provisioned modules from a Matter perspective that also contain your business logic. What's left for you to do is, of course, go out to a Matter certification lab, get that certification declaration, and integrate that into your Matter application. If this sounds still too tedious, let me present you PanMax Diamond. Herein, most of what we did in PanMax Gold stays valid up until here, except for when we enter certification, you work with our preferred partner, DECRA, who has a certification path that has been expressly designed for Matter over thread projects that are designed on Pan B511. This will hopefully quicken your time through certification, as DECRA is already aware about the setup of most of our customers. And everything else from that point on would lead to a fast time to market. If I would engage you a little more into the certification topic, let me tell you, this is how the certification at DECRA may look like. When we kickstart a Matter certification request, you as a customer would prepare a device and a test DUT with Panasonic facilitating its setup, and we will provide this to DECRA. DECRA will analyze the DUT and define the level of service that they need to set up to do pre-certification or certification for you. In the second phase of this topic, there are some key checks that they must perform. First of all, about your Bluetooth functionality. They'll validate if you have a SIG membership. They'll verify that the device that brings Bluetooth functionality. In this case, an RF54L15 based Panasonic device has its own QDID, and that you have already carried out inheritance of this QDID onto you on your side as a product. But if you want DECRA support, they're authorized to help customers with Bluetooth compliance. The next step would be doing the same approach for thread. Here, you would, of course, work with DECRA on validating your thread group membership, inheritance of the thread stack, or let's say thread certification ID from Nordic Semiconductor. And finally, from a CSA perspective, the membership as well as the PICs, which is the document that you need to generate to carry out the testing. With all of this out of the way, we jump to the main activity, which would be the testing. So with all of this information at their disposal, DECRA would start the matter testing. Everything going well, they'll generate the test reports, which will be submitted by them to CSA. At that point, CSA will issue you a certification declaration, which you will then bring to Panasonic. And thus, your product will be Matter certified. Of course, DECRA is able to offer many different compliance testings. If you have questions related to RED or CRA or many other regulations that may apply for your product, please feel free to also work with DECRA on those topics. Those topics will remain outside the purview of PanMax Diamond. The overview of the Diamond service is that compared to Gold, what we are providing to you on top of PanMax Gold is that you get a certification path that is designed for Pan V5 11-based product with a minimal test package that you get to know in advance. And then as you go, based on the kind of product that you design, you can establish a pay-as-you-go model with DECRA. That brings a lot of clarity to the cost that are incurred on getting your device certified. And there's of course one less step, one very critical step that you don't need to do anymore, which is to organize your Matter certification entirely by yourself. One final point of caution that I would like to emphasize here is that as far as the compliance testing for Matter goes, Matter products may need to be recertified, or there is additional testing that is needed when you upgrade your product from between Matter versions. So if you go from Matter 1.3 to 1.4 or from 1.4 to eventually 1.5, all of that includes additional testing and additional compliance checks. For this, having a good relationship with your compliance vendor and having a clear certification path is highly valued. So I guess this gives you a very good understanding as a smart lock manufacturer, but not just if you're making a smart light, if you're making a smart switch, if you're making a smart plug or anything else, that we are providing a lot of things in order for you to get to the market rather quickly. I'd like to by saying this. We are aiming for you to travel to in the direction of Matter, the most simple way possible and with the least risk that you can adopt. We don't do this by ourselves. We do this with a host of partners that are more than qualified and incredibly reputed in this domain. We are hopeful that by providing pre-certified radio modules, by extending Matter PKI from our European production facilities, and by providing you a clear certification path, we'll drive your product to the market, and by doing so, will enable many customers, big or small or medium sized, to make more products for tomorrow's smart home. One rather important topic here is that the effort in making this service has been focused on making it in a way that the infrastructure and the pricing is scalable in nature, such that whenever you need Panasonic to support you and to help you and scale your business, we'll be happy to discuss this in detail with you. If you have any more questions, either technical or commercial in nature, please reach out to us. With this, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I'd like to open the floor for questions.
What is the demanding application with regards to the 5340? So I didn't have anything specific in mind, but if you think about the Meta stack or like the Meta application itself, usually that's the constraint. There's gonna be RAM, and there you're gonna have about, let's say, 200 kilobytes used for RAM, which would leave you with like 50 left or something. And then if you think about a door lock and want to use a standard like Aliro, that's about 50 kilobytes of RAM. So you basically you don't have much left for your own application. So that is something where we would recommend the 5340, for example. So anything that does a bit more than just on off, or if you want to do something like simple voice recognition, keywords, some easy machine learning, there it's good to go to the 5340. Or basically anything where you want to use Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi stack is a bit bigger than Thread. So what is the penetration / availability per household of Thread border routers in the developed markets? My view is that it is gaining traction, but cannot bet on availability, hence having support for Wi-Fi. You're correct. So I don't have the exact numbers, but in general, you can say like Wi-Fi, like everybody has Wi-Fi basically in the developed markets. For Thread, it's a bit different. So there is actually a lot more Thread devices now coming to the market. So if you look at it, for example, if you have a MacBook, you have a Thread device. Problem is it's not enabled. So there's lots of devices that have Thread integrated. So for example, all the new iPhones have Thread integrated, all the new Pixel phones have Thread integrated. There again, that's like the thread you find in phones is not for border router functionality, but it is exactly for your use case, right? If you want to be the first smart home device in somebody's house, usually Thread wasn't an option. But if you're now the first smart home device in somebody's home and they own an iPhone, let's say you want to use Eve window blinds, they already work like one-to-one with Thread with an iPhone without a border router. So there's a new device type in Thread that's called, I think, a wake-up controller, if I'm not mistaken. That one can do one-to-one connections. And we see that coming up in more and more phones these days. As I mentioned, even laptops have Thread radios inside. But market penetration Thread is not at 100%. People that have a smart home very likely are going to have Thread, because like most of the Alexa devices have it. Most of the Apple or Google smart hubs have it. But in general, it's far away from the 100% that we have with Wi-Fi. Does NRF have a Wi-Fi BLE combo Meta certified supported SoC? So at the moment, if you want to do this, so like if you talk to sales, they might be able to tell you things that I cannot tell you publicly. But the main thing at the moment is if you want to have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth at the same time, you want to use the 5340 and put the NRF 7000 next to it. But if you have a sales contact, talk with them about it. They will be able to tell you a lot more than I'm able to tell you in a webinar. And if you don't have a sales contact, you can just click the contact sales button on Nordic Semiconductor and you will have a sales contact. Is there any Wi-Fi BLE SoC which supports Meta? Oh, that's basically the same question. Also need to know if NRF is having BLE Thread Meta SoC. So most of the SoCs that we talk about here and the Panasonic modules have Bluetooth and Thread in one device. So there the question is, yes, basically everything that we showed here has Bluetooth and Thread. Is it possible to get a product Meta certified even though the RF SoC is not certified? What are the challenges?
So Meta is an application layer protocol. So it's the ensemble that gets certified. So you don't certify it at the SoC level. So you have Meta compliant chipsets that have Bluetooth and Thread radios, and then who have a port for Matter open source SDK. Eventually, it's the onus is on the device manufacturer to get the final product as Matter certified. And this is where we try to lay out most of the challenges during the presentation.
Okay. On every OTA, do we have to recertify the product? I think Michael. Oh, maybe I should mention this. We have one extra joker to join us in the Q&A. We have Michael here to help us with in-depth questions. Maybe you introduce yourself and answer the question.
Yes, hello. I'm Michael. I'm working together with Chetan on developing the PanMax product. So the short answer is no. As long as you do not change your Meta version, then you can do OTAs as often as you like. If you decide to update to a newer Meta version, yes, you need to recertify, but there is a special offer, and it is called Meta Fast Track Recertification, which makes it easy and also cheaper to recertify a product for a new Meta version. The idea is here to phase out older versions of the Meta protocol quicker. So there is an incentive to everybody to update here.
Okay, thank you. And then we have this one. Chetan, you need to tell me if this is something that is public or not. What is the price for diamond, gold, or silver plans depending on volumes?
Yes. So these pricings are not fixed. We work on a productivity basis. So we would like to discuss this with you for your own requirements on which level would you want to work with us. Eventually, this is a lot of customization on our end. So we would like to pass on the productivity gains whenever and as soon as we can to you. So you'll see progressive step pricing from us based on volumes.
Okay. Good. Then this question. I'm going to try to answer this. You can jump in if you want to. Is there any similar process provided by Nordic/Panasonic for certification of the Meta compliant mobile app? So for mobile apps, and this is, I haven't looked into this at all, to be honest. What I know is for mobile apps, most customers are doing it the way where the main app that the customer company is making is proprietary. So it's not necessarily a Meta specific app. So oftentimes you use something else than Meta for what your app is doing. So for example, using Wi-Fi for the app, and then the actual control of your device when you want to do it with an ecosystem is using the ecosystem's app. So then you would, for example, use the Apple, Google, or Samsung app for the whole ecosystem, and would use a proprietary, for example, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi app for doing your device just with your app. But I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm going to check with this and add some extra information in the on-demand version. Okay, let's have a look at this one. When you say on what you need, product-specific data and final Meta application, do you mean the hardware design and also relative firmware?
Yeah, I'll take this. So not the hardware design itself. I mean, if you would want us to have a look at the hardware design purely to optimize the positioning of the module, to optimize the antenna performance, etc., we'd be very happy to do that for you.
But what I mean product-specific data is that in case of Matter, during the production, you need to fill certain informations about who's the product vendor and what's the product make, etc., etc. So I mean, this is part of the factory data that gets programmed onto the module. So instead of shipping an empty module with just the DACs preloaded into them, we link it to your specific product and your company itself. That is what I mean by product specific data. So no, everything stays in context of software information. And of course, for final Matter application, this means your business logic, including the Matter application. If you have sensors, etc., all of the firmware that you're using to drive that.
Which thread subscription plan is necessary for Meta certification? So I think this refers to something you said in your presentation.
Exactly. I mean, I say this in my presentation that what we recommend on our side is basically at minimum you need to be an implementer, which is a recurrent fee of $7,500 for your company. Let me also say, I mean, there are other membership levels that provide certain advantages. There is also a lot of interlinkages between all of these working groups. So, for example, CSA and Thread do have, let's say, touch points that allow you to have, let's say, pay just a higher level of CSA membership and then get everything on Thread side included. So this would be something that you would have to decide on your side as to what suits your requirements the best. But from our side, what we recommend is that in order to be able to ship a product, you should start at least with an implemented in it.
How much RAM and flash is required Meta supported Wi-Fi and BLE or BLE thread device? I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but if you think about RAM and ROM on the different samples, it differs. The very rough estimate is you need like about 200 kilobytes of RAM for Meta or Thread, and I think about 250 for Meta or Wi-Fi. I might be wrong. I can put the correct numbers in the on-demand version here. But in general, for Meta or Wi-Fi, the 52 and 54 are gonna be too small when it comes to the memory. So there you will need to use the 53. I think the constraint is on the RAM side, not on the flash side for that.
I just would also add very shortly that there's a forward-looking design on our side where, in case you are concerned about the flash or possibly you're logging and doing a whole lot of things that require storage, in that case, we have on the same module the possibility of adding 4 megabyte on top of what is already available on NRF54L15. So that helps.
Maybe you also want to take this one. What's the timeline, or how long does it take to get a Meta product certified?
Absolutely. So again, there are so many ways to answer this question. If you were to do everything by yourself, which is not what I would intend at any rate, there's a lot of places that require attention and possible slip-ups. So it's good to work with an integrated approach. I mean, we are not the only ones who are providing pre-approved, let's say, so collaborations with PKI vendors, etc. But we do have a rather very complete journey that is intended to shorten precisely the time to get certified. So you're working with a lot of pre-work components. In hard terms, again, it's a difficult question for the actual matter testing at a lab like DECRA. the background is there are in each Matter product, you have a certain number of endpoints, and each endpoint has certain number of clusters, and the testing effort varies in accordance to what product you are trying to build, even though it stays within the scope of the Matter specification testing. So on that, what we are trying to do is that we are working very closely with DECRA to set up presets for certification, or and also generate some sort of minimum expected costs that you would factor in when starting your Matter project. And that gives you a very clear understanding of what is the minimum time that you would spend. This might be, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, or a month, but everything depends on how complex your project ends up being.
Does it or is it mandatory to comply with BLE and thread certification before Meta certification? So if you use BLE and thread in your Meta device, then yes, it is mandatory. You cannot get the Meta certification without BLE and thread certification. That is part of getting the Meta certification. Does NIF have any mobile application like ChipTool? We are using ChipTool, so no, but it's completely fine to use ChipTool for that. So that's what I also recommend to do. Should I expect when I use Meta 1.4 that it will reduce the power consumption for both NIF54L and NIF5340? That depends on your starting point. So in general, you can expect lower power consumption, like about 30% when you compare to the 52 series, and a bit less than that when you, so like 52 versus 54 series, and 53 series will be somewhere in the middle. You can also, I'm gonna put this in the normal chat. We have this online power profiler for Meta over thread devices. And there you can actually look at the different devices in the same use case. This is based on actual data that we measured. So this gives you a very good idea of your average power consumption. We also, as I mentioned, I think this question came in before I mentioned that, but we also did a webinar specifically on that. So there's also a white paper on this. And if you go to webinars.nordicsemi.com, you can just click on the latest Meta webinar, not this one, but the one 2 weeks ago. We have the complete webinar just on this topic.
If I can also very quickly add to that, then if the question is on Matter 1.4 versus the older versions of Matter, and then yes, there are certain features or certain new modes that are added that would allow you to have longer intervals when you're sleeping. So just upgrading to Matter 1.4 is also a good idea, purely from a power consumption perspective.
Can we expect to have NF modules to be manufactured outside of China or Taiwan? Is Panasonic manufacturing in Europe? I'm guessing this question also came in early.
That is true, but I can also understand the fear that resides in this question. It's kind of a peculiar time that we're living in, and as unfortunate as that it is, I want to tell you that Panasonic has been in manufacturing in Europe for more than 4 decades now. So these particular devices, wireless modules, have their origins here. We did not bring this factory in yesterday. So this has been a well-running, well-oiled operation for over, let's say, multiple decades now. So yes, the product is designed in north of Germany and it's produced in Slovakia.
Good.
All of the roadmap questions are best addressed to us directly and not in a public forum. But what I can tell you is that the NRF7002 base modules might very well work with a NRF5340 base device in context of a, let's say, combined 5340 plus 7002 radio design. We do have a 5340 based module. It's called PAN1783. I'll write it down in the chat. And what that means is that you could very well envision running your Matter application on PAN1783
if that were the case, and then use it to also use in an RF7002 based module as an Wi-Fi attach. If you mean pricing by volume, and we are distributed by all major distributors, catalogs, and broadliners, and in some cases we also can service you in other ways if that is what we need. But all of that comes to a discussion based on the project and everything. Let me also just reiterate that our engineering commitment is completely independent of the service or sales channel. So, I mean, we can help you build a proof of concept, and we can also help you identifying the best sales channel that suits your needs. So, this is something that we do on a daily basis.
Okay. And then one more question. This is also related to the module. With the hybrid layout of the module, can I just use the castellated whole if I don't need all the GPIOs?
Absolutely. I mean, we have put careful thought when designing this particular module. You have access to all of the main pins that are, let's say, hardwired onto the SoC in, for example, reset pin or software debug, etc., etc. And the rest of the pins are, I mean, there are enough number of GPIOs that you can configure to be used as UART and everything. So you have a healthy balance of pins that are routed out onto the side, and then the remaining ones are routed to the bottom. So I guess there's no problem in configuring that properly in your project.
And with that, we've made it through all of the live questions that we had in the webinar. If you are watching this on demand, feel free to put your questions in the comment section. We actually go through them and answer them from time to time. And it's really nice for everyone else to see the questions, because it's very likely that two people are going to have the same question. So feel free to comment the questions below. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. And if you want to, you can also leave us a like or a dislike if you didn't like the video.